Round 1 of the Nations Championship is complete, and in this video I'm going to be giving my review from round 1. A really good weekend of rugby. I mean, it's so good to have international rugby back, and the Nations Championship, really this tournament just seems so special, so different, and I think it's going to be really good for international rugby to have this tournament going forward. Now, I'm not too sure what the plans are, if they want to make it every year, every second year, I'm not too sure, but I do like the format. I do like seeing different teams playing a different tier 1 team every single week. And of course, I like the layout as well, that there is the Nations Cup as well, the kind of tier 2 division, the kind of B league, you can call it, down below. So I really do like what's going on with this tournament. I know a lot of people, before it started happening, before it was first played, were kind of against it, were negative towards it, but I've always been positive about it. I've been saying for a while now, the end of the year tours, the November tours, the November internationals, where you play different teams every single week, is my favorite for that exact same reason. And now getting that with the opposite kind of end of the spectrum in the Southern Hemisphere, I just think is absolutely awesome. But before we do get into some of the scores, going over some of the games, doing a bit of a review, if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I really do appreciate all the support. We have just surpassed 3,000 subscribers, so thank you so much. We are trying to aim now for 10,000. We're trying to go as far as we can, as quick as we can as well, but thank you so much for all the support, and please feel free to comment your thoughts down below, whether you agree, whether you disagree as well, because I will always reply. This weekend's been very busy, and I will get back to the comments probably right after this video, so thank you so much for all the support. So starting off with the first game of the weekend, we had the All Blacks versus France. 34 points to the All Blacks, 32 points to France. This game was an absolute thriller. It was an end-to-end classic. The running rugby was on show. France played some really good running rugby without their 100% strongest team. It still was a strong team, and the All Blacks did have injuries as well, so I'd say it was about an 80% All Blacks strongest team and about a 50% around their France strongest team, but still some of those players for France are absolutely incredible. But that being said, there was some incredible rugby, some incredible running rugby, some incredible tries scored. I thought both the backlines really pitched up, and you can just see with this All Blacks team already under Dave Rennie, you're starting already to see glimpses of that All Blacks running rugby we all grew up with, we all see when it was a few years ago as well, from those early 2000s to the mid 2010s as well. Some really good running rugby there from the All Blacks. Now they just need to be able to do that for 80 minutes consistently, because that's what we saw from those 2015, 2016 All Blacks teams. They could do that for 80 minutes straight, and if this All Blacks team can get that done, they probably can kind of challenge for number 1 in the world again. But seeing the All Blacks team like this, seeing the players so motivated, seeing them playing some rugby like this, the running rugby, the exciting rugby that they have been doing, it makes me even more excited for the greatest rivalry series coming up, because I mean, the two best teams in the world, well, they can be the two best teams in the world, the Springboks and the All Blacks, the greatest rivalry in rugby, with an All Blacks team playing some incredible rugby and a Springboks team that is looking unbeatable right now. That is going to be an absolutely classic all-time tour. I cannot wait for that. But that being said, France really did pitch up for this game. Maxime Lucu was on form. Mathieu Jalibert was on form. Yoram Mofana, Fabien Bralbury, Theo Atisogbe, as well Damien Penaud, early try in the game, in the first few minutes of the game. I mean, all these guys were on show, playing some of their best rugby. So some really good rugby on show, a really good way to start the weekend. But the All Blacks definitely were the better team there, and they deserved to get the win. Moving on to the second game, we had Japan versus Italy. Japan defeating Italy 27 points to 10. In my books, this is an upset, because I was expecting Italy to get the win there. Italy have been looking really good in the last few months. They've beaten England, they've beaten Scotland, they were close with Ireland, they were close with France as well. Bad loss to Wales, but this Italy team was looking a lot better. I just don't think Italy was conditioned for this game right now. I don't know what it is. It could be the travel, it could be the conditions, but Japan just blew Italy off their feet. And after halftime, I really did believe, okay, Italy's going to step it up to another gear now, and they're going to come back and they're going to fight their way back into this game. But Japan ended up being the team that did that in the second half. Some really good performances from some of those players in Japan. I mean, Warner Durns, what a player for Japan. I think the All Blacks will be unlucky to be missing him, but a really big player for Japan there. A phenomenal rugby player after a really good Super Rugby season as well, putting in some big performances at the international stage. But of course, my team of the week will be coming out after after this in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. There's going to be some really interesting selections for that one as well. But Japan with a really good win. I thought this was a massive win for them. Yes, it is Italy, but this Italy team is not a joke anymore. If you see that forward pack from Italy, Fischetti, the Canone brothers, Andrea Zambanin, Zuliani's obviously not there, but Ross Vincent's there as well. Some really good forwards in that pack. And the backline players are no slouch either, with Ioane, Garbisi, Juan Ignacio Breaks, and Tommaso Menoncello. Some really good players there in the backline, and arguably a top 3 or top 5 center combination in the world right now there with Juan Ignacio Breaks and Tommaso Menoncello. So a really good win for Japan. Can they build on this? They've got some really tough games. I think they've got Ireland, and I think who's the other one? France as well in the upcoming games. It will be a very good learning lesson for them. Can they gain that experience? And also, can they maybe beat a top team in the world and those guys that are top 5 teams in the world? I guess we'll have to find out, but Japan is looking good. And for Italy, they have to now face New Zealand and Australia, which are going to be 2 very tough games for them to kind of get back into where they were, back into their mojo as well. I do like the forward pack. I do like the team for Italy. I think they can take the All Blacks to the 80th minute, or at least deep into the game, and keep it close. I just don't think they have the firepower right now, or even the self-belief to beat the All Blacks. But the Australia game can really be one where the Italy team can try fight back and claw back a win for this tour, because Italy have actually honestly been getting the better of Australia over the last 3 or 4 years. So that's going to be a very interesting game. But a disappointing performance for Italy, a really good performance for Japan. Moving on to the other game there, Australia versus Ireland. This game was an absolutely awesome game. Ireland getting the win, 33 points to 31. And a lot of people agree with me in the comments. Ireland did not deserve to win this game, but at the end of the day, in international rugby, if you can claw out a win like that, that just shows the true character of a team. I mean, this win actually probably was a very important win for Ireland mentally, and probably a really disappointing loss for Australia, because I thought Australia was the better team on the day. They came out firing. Most of their players played really well. They won with all the stats as well, but somehow Ireland found a way to claw themselves back into the game and found a way to win. They found a way to stay in the game even without being the better team on the day, and that is a sign of a great team with some great things to come. So a really good win for Ireland. Very disappointing for Australia, but still some really good positive signs from Australia as well. Some big performances there, some big time players as well. So this Australia team is still young. It's not an old team. They've got some really good years ahead of them, and that was a really good game of test match rugby. Same with the New Zealand-France game as well. The better team, in my opinion, probably did win. Overall, I'd say the better team with the players they have, but the better team on the day there probably didn't get the win for Australia versus Ireland. But that being said, a really good game. Ireland next up. I think they have Japan and then New Zealand, so some really good games there. And I think Australia have, I think they've got France and then Italy, but I'm not too sure. But either way, some really interesting games ahead for both those teams. Moving on to the other half of the games, Fiji versus Wales. Wales getting the win, 39 points to 24 over Fiji. A really good win for Wales. Not the best game. They didn't play well in my opinion, but a really good win for this Wales team. I had a rant about it in the player ratings. This team right now, this Wales team, will learn so much from that. They will gain so much valuable experience. And yes, they beat Italy, they beat the Barbarians, and now they've beaten Fiji. That's 3 games in a row, 2 official test matches, 1 in a row. This group, all they need to do right now is just learn how to win games. You can already start to see that they're starting to understand their structure, they're starting to understand their system, and they're starting to understand how, as a group, they can play the style that suits them the best to get the best results at the end of the day. But that being said, Fiji put up a good fight. Fiji, I'm so happy that they are in this tournament, because they are always so fun to watch. I think Joita Wanakolo beat something like a crazy amount of defenders. I think it was more than 10 defenders beaten. Crazy stats there from him. I think it was above 15 if I'm not mistaken, but still a really good performance from him there. But those Fijian guys, they are such good individual rugby players, and I think this tournament will be a really good kind of way for them to get experience against the tier 1 teams every single week. And I don't think there's going to be a single game that Fiji will lose by far. I really think they'll keep it close in every single game they play, which is really good for this Fiji team. Will the Rugby Championship eventually become a 6-tournament team like the Six Nations with Fiji and Japan? Maybe it will, but I guess that's for World Rugby to decide. But a good win for Wales. Some tough games ahead for both these teams. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in Wales' next games against Argentina and South Africa. But I am very intrigued with this Wales squad. Now moving on to the second to last game. South Africa getting the win, 45 points to 21 over England. A really good start from South Africa. They came flying out the blocks there. Then England somehow made a late charge before half-time. George Martin getting a really highlight carry running over Jasper Wiese, which Jasper Wiese definitely definitely took personally, because there was a line-out play later on where he came around the corner and he just ran through everything he saw. So some really good highlights from that game. Some of the standout players for me were Cheslin Colby, Damian Willemse. I thought Marnie LeBlanc pulled the strings very well. Grant Williams was awesome. Peter Steph Dutoy, a massive player in that game. Thomas Dutoy as well. Malcolm Marks. And of course, some of those guys from the bench like Zachary Porton, Jan-Hendrik Wessels, and Ben Jason Dixon made a really good impact from the bench. So some good players there. The Springbok team's already been released for the game against Scotland, so I couldn't even do my predicted lineup. But honestly, my predicted lineup would have been completely wrong, because Rassie once again made a lot of changes. But just talking about the England team there, a bad result for them. But the thing I've been saying about this England team, they just need to get a consistent team out for at least 4 to 5 games, so those guys can learn how to play together, how to possibly win together, and how to keep games close together, and how to just stay in a game together. Now, I don't think the selections were the best for England. I think the forward pack was probably spot on in my opinion, but the back line I thought was really terrible selections. There's a few other guys I would play there. I'd play centers in their specialist positions. I'd play a guy like Tommy Freeman on the wing, where he can make the most impact and feel the most comfortable. But that being said, this England team has a long way to go, but there were some positive signs to take from the game. But I know that's not what England fans want to hear. They want to hear it's the end of the world, Borthwick needs to go. But at the end of the day, England can bounce back from this, and they are a good World Cup team, because at the end of the day, next year's World Cup, a year away, more than a year away right now, is all that matters. But now moving on to the final game, and an upset in my opinion. I did not see this coming. 47 points for Scotland, they get the win. 38 points for Argentina, so Scotland get the win over Argentina in Argentina. I said it in the week, I said it before the game, Scotland needs to have a big win away from home, the way they play at Murrayfield, and they did just that. Rory Hutchison and Sione Tuipulotu combined really well in the centres. Honestly, I thought Stafford McDowell was the right choice there, but I was completely wrong. I thought Scotland really came out to play. They brought the intensity, they brought the physicality, they brought the energy, and I just think the Scotland versus South Africa game is going to be the game from these kind of 3-match series for both teams. I think England was a very hyped up game, but I think Scotland right now is the better team compared to England, and I think that Scotland-South Africa game should be an absolute cracker. I think it is at Loftus Versfeld as well, so that's going to be a very fun game to watch. Argentina need to bounce back from this. I know it wasn't their absolute strongest team. There's a few injuries there, a few guys not available, but that being said, they still need to play better, and at home, they just were getting bullied, they were getting dominated, they weren't in the fight for that long, but that's just credit to Scotland because they had a phenomenal game. But some really good games there this weekend. Let me know who you thought was your best player. Let me know what you thought was your best game from the weekend. For me personally, I thought that France-New Zealand game was absolutely awesome, and I think the best performance from the weekend for me, to tie here, I'm going to have to go with Japan, and I'm going to have to go with Scotland. Yes, I thought the Springboks played well, but I thought Japan for them played extremely well, and I thought Scotland played a level above what we know from them away from home. But that being said, a really good weekend of rugby. If you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.